Welcome everyone, we are here for the 6th round of the 2012 GP4 Offline Championship. We are here at Monte Carlo for the Monaco Grand Prix. So first of all, let's go over the Spain race rating and the Spain driver of the day. So the race rating was an 8 out of 10, which I think was a pretty fair reflection of the race. And the driver of the day was given to Evan Byrne, who who took a good victory in that race. So obviously Monaco Grand Prix, one of the most famous races on the calendar, 78 laps. 19 corners. We've got obviously the famous Rascas, we've got the tunnel, we've got the Lowe's hairpin. So this should be a very interesting race. There's going to be crashes. I mean, we all know there's going to be crashes because we all know Rascas is going to be an absolute crazy corner for crashes in this race. So this will be very interesting to see how this goes. So I'm very much looking forward to it. I hope you guys are as well. And in a few seconds, we will then head on to the grid for Monaco. And in qualifying, by the way, it was in fact dry. So the qualifying grid is as follows: Florian Volker on pole position with Waze Cooper alongside him in P2. P3 is Miklos Gal, followed by Evan Byrne, P4. Viggo Holst, P5, followed by Joseph Willows, P6. And I lie, by the way, the qualifying wasn't dry, it was in fact wet. George Roke, 7th place. Sam Thompson in 8th. Jamie McKenzie, 9th. Robert Ionescu in 10th. And as we go further down the order onto the 6th row of the grid is Felix Sonntag in 11th. Amar Khan in 12th. 13th place, Adam Wolf. 14th place is Franco Gamba on row 7. 15th place, another good qualifying by Oliver Glazebrook, ahead of out-qualifying Alex Southgate. Oliver Glazebrook has actually done pretty well this season with regards to qualifying, and also race pace as well, scoring a point in Bahrain, of course. Roman Quagg in 17th, Rivki Parks in 18th, De Rossa in 19th, Roland Moich in 20th, and on the back row of the grid it is the two Mauritius, Sean Grant and Zachary Fitzwater. So that is the grid for the race. Let's see what the weather will be like for the race. And you see, it will be, well, not necessarily bright sunshine, but it will be a bit cloudy, but there will be no rain this race, so down to who survives, really. I think that's the best way, really, to describe this race. So this should be very, very interesting indeed. As we are now set to head onto the grid for 78 laps. It's going to be a long one, so get your popcorn out, ladies and gents. We are about to start. The 5 lights are about to come on. They now have come on. We now have 3 lights. 4 lights, and now 5 lights. It's quite a long hold, and we're underway, and here we go for the Monaco Grand Prix, and Volker looks to have made a good start, and is Gal going to get ahead of Cooper into turn 1? It doesn't look like it, and he doesn't, as they come through turn 1. There's been a crash at the back, there's debris flying everywhere, there's a false India stranded in the middle of the corner, there's a massive traffic jam. Robbie Ionescu's been involved, he's out of this race. I think that was Felix Sonntag in the Mercedes who's missing parts of his car. Oliver Glazebrook has made it. But there's a major incident at the first corner as the Toro Rosso gets lifted up there. There's a false India involved. I don't know who that is. That's actually Amar Khan, because De Rossa's just got out of that. And oh my goodness me. Well, we did say there'd be carnage, didn't there? And there already has been. There goes the Sauber of Ricky Park-Rosane, who looks to have got out of it. The two Mauritius, although one of them has got damage. As we continue going through, the Williams has got through, and now the other Ferrari. Who is that? I don't know who that is. I think that's Joseph Willows, actually. But Amar Khan is out. Robert Ionescu is out. And who else? Is there another car out? I think there's another car because there's a Williams stuck there. And it's a Mercedes, and it's Alex Southgate. So we've got 3 cars eliminated on the first lap of this race. And so we're going to have a look to see what happened as Moitin is stuck behind his car. He's really trying to push it out of the way. And he does so and finally gets through. But what a start. We've already had 3 cars out in the first corner, and Moitin's race has been completely ruined as Kuba sits the fastest lap. He's actually just coming around the first corner as Volker just ahead of Kuba as the cars get removed just in time for them to get through, although Southgate's car is still there stranded, so they have to go slow through the first corner as now his car gets moved. So let's have a look actually at how this happened at the start. A whole lot of chaos. We need to see who was the perpetrator of this. So let's have a look. So who was it that got started? So let's have a look actually on board from Ionescu first of all. So he's had a pretty poor start of the season, to say the least. So let's see how this happened. So there goes the Mercedes, and so Ionescu gets hit from behind. He got hit spectacularly. He went into the back of Southgate. Oh, it was the Toro Rosso there that started that off. That was Franco Gamba who has started that. He went into the back of car, who in turn went into Ionescu, who went into Sonntag. and that started a massive chain reaction. I don't know really what he was doing there, Gamba. That was a pretty poor piece of driving, to say the least. And then Khan's car just drifted right onto the racing line. So there's the Ferrari of Joseph Willis, who went right into the wall, obviously probably trying to avoid all this. So Amar Khan, unfortunately an innocent bystander in this one, as he was right behind Inescu, and he went into Inescu, and then he got hit and went over the curb, and unfortunately right onto the racing line into the first corner, which caused that massive traffic jam, as there was Joseph Willis, who went into the wall there. So let's have a look on board with him, how that occurred. So he was in 6th, he dropped down to 7th, and he'd obviously got hit from behind, and he actually went into the wall, and I don't know if he got any damage, because he's gone right into the tyre barrier. I don't think he did. I don't think from when we saw the original replay he actually got any damage, so I think he got away with it. So let's have a look from the TV camera's point of view, as we look at Amar Khan, who is moving about. You can see Gamba just went into him, then he goes into Inescu, he goes into Sontag, and that starts a massive chain reaction in front. And then the two Lotus cars there, the 2 Caterhams I should say, getting stuck through there, although Glazebrook managed to get through there, looks like unscathed, as he comes through. And then, oh hang on, no he didn't, and Glazebrook, who as we just recovered from the replay, is out of this race, and he was trying to get past Sontag coming through the swimming pool, and he just went into him, and then went, I mean, I don't really know what Glazebrook was thinking there. It was just not a move that he needed to make, considering the fact that Sontag was going to have to pit anyway. And unfortunately for Glazebrook, it's a really naive and stupid move on his part, and he's pretty much taken himself out of the race. He just didn't need to make that, and well, he just cost himself a chance of possibly maybe getting a top 10, maybe even points finish. There's Southwick's car, who finally gets removed from the marina, and now Glazebrook's car will get moved. By the looks of it, it'll probably get dumped into the sea. As we look at Zachary Fitzwater, who I think is obviously going to go into the pits. There's Kuba, who's right behind Volker and has been from the start. So here we are looking at Holst, and oh, Holst is out of the race. Unfortunately, he's not had a good bout of luck this season, and as Mackenzie goes past, he's gone wide. He overtook him, he went way too deep into the first corner, and he has just gone into the barrier there and is going through the wall as well. And oh dear me, it was a really silly, well I mean, Mackenzie made the move. I suppose Holst didn't give him that much room. And unfortunately, I mean, he could have tried to cut across the first corner. He probably would have got a warning for it, but still, it would have been better than doing what he did there, Mackenzie. Bit unfortunate there for him when getting out the way of Holst's car. But Holst, unfortunately, is out of the race with it looks like a possible engine failure, and Mackenzie coming through, he just couldn't stop the car, and bam, right into the wall right there. And he rejoins, he managed to reverse and rejoins back on the track, but now he'll have to overtake Holst unless he pulls off, which he does. He's going to pull off the track now as he comes down into the left-handers. Mackenzie just scrapes past him. They're going to have all the smoke coming through that corner of the drivers as Holst slowly keeps his car out to the side of the road. And now his car, we can't even see it now because there's so much smoke that the marshals disappeared throughout it. And it was in fact an oil leak that cost him, that forced him to retire. So unfortunately for Holst, got 2 podiums so far and got a pole position, but has yet to win so far for McLaren. But let's hope that luck will change later on in the season, as now Miklos Gau comes in for, it looks like, his first pit stop of the race quite early on. We're only on lap 10, so obviously it looks like they'll be going for a 3-stopper. And let's see how quick the stop will be for Miklos Gau.
Prepare yourself for the first gear.
And the pit stop is a 6.7 second stop. And let's see where he comes out on track. So he's going to come out in 6th. He's going to come out behind. He's behind George Rogan. Actually, Roman Quarkus actually managed to get himself into the points somehow for Caterham. I don't quite know how that's happened. As there he goes down the straight as he's ahead of De Rossa and ahead of Ricky Farkazane, who's now up into the points as Gallus made his first pit stop. Excuse me. And now Ricky Farkazane is right behind De Rossa. And oh, there's been another crash. And that is Roland Moyton out of the race. Sam Thompson's hit him, and he's going to have to go into the pits. And oh, and I think there was another car that hit it. And I think, did George Roke hit the debris? I think he did. And I think they're both going to have to go into the pits as well. So we need to have a look at what happened there. It's quite an unusual place to have that. It's just after the hairpin. After the Anthony Nose hairpin. I can't remember what it's called, to be honest. But so he'd just been lapped by the Ferrari of Waze Kuba, and that was Evan Byrne, I think, that was right behind him. So did Evan Byrne have anything to do with it? Let's have a look. And Byrne made a move on the, oh no, it was Moyton by himself. He went into the wall on his own accord there. It wasn't anything to do with Evan Byrne. And then Thompson went into him. Did George Roke lose Any bit of debris, I don't know. But let's have a look at Thompson, who's running in P4 with Santos. He's having a fantastic race. And unfortunately for him, he pretty much had absolutely nowhere to go there. Motion right in front of his path. And I believe Roke lost debris in that one. And the answer is, yes, he did. He lost his front wing as well in P5. So both he and Thompson are going to go into the pits here. As there's Zachary Fitzwater, who's just gone through. And Roman Quagg is going to move into the top 4 now, it seems, for... Oh, and now another crash. Before I'd even finish my sentence there, Roman Quagg, who's now moving to the top 4. Ricky Harkstein has just taken himself out of the race for Sauber there. What a race we've had with regards to crashes. Maybe not so much in action, but we now have a double retirement for Sauber. Not been their season at all so far. And it was Ricky Harkstein's mistake that has put him out of this race. Let's have a look at it again. As he comes on into the chicane after the tunnel, and he just turns in a little bit too early and then clips his front wheel, and that is him done for the day. So what a start of this race we have had at the moment. Wow, wow, wow. So there goes his car, gets pushed away. That's another one else. I don't even know how many cars are still left. I don't think there's that many cars. I think there's probably about 14 cars left. Well, Joseph Willis is in 12 places, so there's obviously still at least 12 cars running. So they come through Raskas and Owen to Anthony Nose, and there's contact there. And Willows makes the move stick. That was quite aggressive from Willows, to say the least. And, well, I don't know, really, that was quite aggressive. But, I mean, he's moved up a position, but I think that's all he can really hope for. They're now coming into the hairpin. Is now Volker's in the lead. There's traffic ahead. And, oh, there's contact. And Volker, who I think may have been hit by Kuba, has just gone into the Marussia there. And Volker is out of this Grand Prix. And that's just handed the lead to Waze Kuba in front. Oh my goodness me. And, well, I think you can just see that happen. I mean, Raskas is the host of so many big crashes in this race, and unfortunately we've had another one once again. So now Volker and the Marussia, I don't even know who it is. I think it might be, I don't know who it is, but they're both in really dangerous parts of the track. So incredibly, Roman Quagg has moved into a podium position once again for the second race running. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, I really don't. I mean, that's just unbelievable. So it was Sean Grant, the one who was involved in this. So let's have a look what happened there. So it was Jay McKenzie who was right behind Grant, and obviously he was trying to overtake him on track, but didn't realize they had traffic. So McKenzie made contact with him, and they both got a bit held up in the corner. And unfortunately, yeah, I think there was a bit of contact from Kuba behind. It definitely looked like it. So we need to have a look on board from Kuba's point of view, see if there was any contact from the Congolese driver. And the answer was there definitely was a slight bit of contact there from Kuba, which helped Volker into McKenzie there. Well, helped into Grant there, I should say. So now here comes De Rossa into the pits for what looks like his first stop of the race. But what a race we've had so far. So Volker taken out of the race, so that gives a chance for Mikkelskau to possibly even take the lead of the championship in this race, depending on where he finishes. I think if he finishes on the podium, I believe, he will take the lead, but I think anything other than that, he'll still be behind him, due to the fact that, especially due to the fact, obviously, that Volker's won more races than Gal has so far this season. But De Rossa comes out, 5.4 seconds stop. He comes out in P7 behind Sam Thompson in front of Adam Wolf, as now Waze Kuba comes in for his first stop of the race. He's got a 6-second gap over Evan Byrne at the moment, so it's looking pretty good. It's looking like the battle for the win between Kuba and Byrne, but it certainly looks like Kuba's the favourite unless he has any problems with traffic or whatnot, which is entirely possible because this is Monaco, so you just never know what could happen. As Kuba now comes out of his pit stall, 5.6 seconds stop, so quite quick. Obviously these pit stops are a lot quicker this season than they have been before, and so he's going to come up behind Byrne, and Roman Quagg is at the moment in P3, but he's not going to go into P2, which will be his highest place in the GP4 OC order in his history. But Kuba comes out in P2. He's got a comfortable gap ahead of Quagg, and he's got a big gap behind Evan Byrne, who now is into the pits, but he will come up comfortably ahead unless he's had a terrible time with traffic. But if he has, then the cameras haven't seen it, but I don't believe he has had any problems. So it's a 5.4 second stop. So you need to look at the timing screen, and there is Kuba, who's going to go past Evan Byrne, and there he goes. And then we have another car out of the race, and that is Felix Sontag this time, as now Roman Quagg makes his way into the pits, and oh, he's gone! He's nearly outbraked himself into the pit entry, and that could cost Quag dearly there. He's somehow not got any damage from that. He's got very lucky. That's going to affect where he comes out after the pits. That is not what Quag wanted. I don't think he would have stayed on the podium anyway, but still, a higher place finish could have gone from the cards there. That's Felix Sonntag, who once again around Raskas, that infamous corner on this track, has unfortunately crashed again. So was it of his own accord, or was it with anyone else? Let's have a look. And I don't know if it was with anyone else. Oh, and it was Waste Coover again. And Waste Coover is having problems with cars around Raskas. So Sonntag went a little bit wide, and then obviously, unfortunately, Coover gave him a slight nudge, which pushed him into the wall there. And that is him out of the race. But obviously, then Roman Quag had this weird moment as he came into the pits. Obviously, I think got a bit affected by that wheel there and probably shook him a bit. And he somehow hit the wall and didn't get any damage there. He probably thought that road just there marked off by those cones was where the track was, but clearly not. But he comes into the pits without any damage, so he will rejoin behind De Rossa. So he's lost a significant amount of time from that, has Quag. So, but at the moment he's still looking pretty good for possibly a points finish here. As now Joseph Willows comes in for, I believe, was his first stop of the race, I think. And he is running down the order. He wasn't in the points. He's going to be behind Mackenzie. Is he going to come out behind Wolf? It's a 5-second stop, so that's pretty quick by Ferrari standards. And yep, looks like he's going to stay in ninth. Or is he just ahead of Wolf? He's going to be tight, but he does just come out ahead of him. As now Kuba is going to be coming up behind these two as well. So Kuba is now going to lap his current teammate, which won't be which will be very pleasing for Waze certainly, but certainly won't be pleasing for Joseph Willows at all, as now George Roque comes in for his, I think his first, well no actually it's technically his second stop, obviously after that, after having to pit earlier on with changing his front wing. So technically his first stop you could say. So let's see where he comes out. He's going to come out behind Gal, behind Thompson. Is he going to come out ahead of De Rossa is the big question. And it's going to be tight because I don't know really Roque how far he was a fair bit behind Thompson when he hit the wing, and then he had to go in the pits. But Thompson, and he did just come out in front of De Rossa. That was very, very close, and I don't know if that will have an impact on either of those two before the end of the race, but we'll see. Gao now comes out after his pit stop. He'll pit one more time before the end. Where will he come out on track? So will he come out actually ahead of Roque and De Rossa will be the interesting thing. I don't think he'll come out ahead of Thompson, I don't believe, unless I'm wrong. But no, he doesn't. In fact, no, he actually comes out behind Thompson and Roque. And obviously De Rossa and Wolf has gone off the track. And Adam Wolf looks to have retired from this race. And he's come out in a really awkward place. And fortunately didn't hit the Renault that was going past through the chicane there. But that is Adam Wolf out of this race. And meaning both the Williams are now out after 51 laps of this Grand Prix. So was it no, it was a technical failure. It was a transmission failure, which has put Wolf out. So it wasn't a crash of his own accord. He was running in ninth place, so he could have easily possibly got a point from this if there are any other problems in front. But there goes the transmission problem straight into the chicane there, and unfortunately took effect there when I don't think he was really expecting that. And the Renault there of Mackenzie having to take a bit of evasive action and just about avoids the wall there. While trying to take action from Wolf as he was getting pushed away there as the Toro Rosso slowly comes through to avoid getting hit. So at the moment Thompson is in P3, but he's now got George Roque and Mikel Ascal hunting him down for that podium position. So Toro Rosso could be on for a podium here. I was about to say they're first for ages, but of course I forget they got podiums last season in 2011 at the end of the season. But now Thompson's going to have to defend from Roque and both Gal, but they're all going to have to make, I believe, one more stop before the end of the race. So that will be very interesting to see, because it's very difficult to overtake here in Monaco. So it looks like probably pit stops will be the deciding factor on who gets the last podium spot. But Waze Cooper is looking really good in P1 at the moment. So De Rossa has actually come into the pits. He, I think, is the first one to. He is well, as you know, he's not anywhere near that bad. I thought he was, but now Thompson comes in. So I don't believe Roque or Gal have. So that will be very interesting to see. How that see what the pace of those two is like, and what the pace of those two is like now that Thompson has pitted, and what the pace of Thompson is like with fresh tyres. So he's going to come out on track in P6. So he comes out behind Quag, but I think he'll have to pit one more time before the end. So now Roque comes into the pits. Where will he come out on track will be the very interesting thing. So he changes his tyres, puts fuel in. He'll be fueled to the end. How quick is this stop? It's a 5.2. That's not too bad. Where will he come out on track though? Gal has not yet pitted, so will he come out crucially ahead of Sam Thompson? That is the big question, and he comes out of the pits. Where is Thompson on the track? And where is he? The big question. He hasn't come through, and he still hasn't come through. And there he is. So Roke has managed to come out ahead of Thompson in the pit stops, crucially. But so he's jumped Thompson in the stops. Has he jumped Gal though? Is the big question. So we will have to wait and see. As now Willows comes out from his final stop, a 5.2 as well. Looks like he's going to finish just inside the points with a P8. So let's see if he comes out still ahead of Mackenzie. Well, Mackenzie does come out ahead, but I don't know if Mackenzie will have to pit before the end. I'm not sure about that, but I don't know if Mackenzie has to pit before the end. I can't remember him making a stop before, but I could be wrong. But here is Nicholas Gal coming into the pit. So where is he going to come out on track? Will he come out ahead of Roke is the big question. Quark at the moment is still racing, but I believe he'll still have to make one more stop before the end. So Roman Quark, who's for temporarily going to take a podium with just 20 laps to go, and unfortunately I think he'll have to pit for the end. So Quark goes past, and Roke will be next in line. Where is Roke is the big question. Gal, and there is Roke. Was that? No, there is Roke. Roke is literally, is he just going to beat him? And I don't know if he is, and I think he has, because Quark come in, and Roke is behind him. So Roke has crucially jumped Gal in the pit stops, and has taken at the moment the final podium spot. As Roman Quark now comes in for his final stop of the race. What a race it's going to happen. It looks like Caterham are going to score some more points here, unless their car lets them down, as now Evan Byrne comes in for his final stop of the race. But at the moment it's looking so comfortable for Waze Kuba up front, as he now comes out of his pit stall. And he's going to come out in a very comfortable second place. I don't think Roke is going to be anywhere near him, to be honest, but it's certainly been a pretty quiet race from Byrne's perspective, and certainly for Kuba as well. But it looks set to be an easy victory at the moment for Kuba, unless he suffers any more problems. As now here we are looking at Waze Kuba as he comes onto the final lap. He's got a 33-second gap over Byrne, who's in turn 45 seconds. I mean, my goodness, that is some gap, I have to say. My goodness me. But at the moment, Waze Kuba, as he's doing his final lap, he is set to take Ferrari's first victory of the season. 33-second gap ahead of Byrne. It certainly wasn't Kuba's season last season. After winning the Canadian Grand Prix, which is actually the next race coming up, he had a pretty disastrous second half of the season, with his best finish being second at the Belgian Grand Prix at his home race. But I have to hope that he does certainly better in the second half of the season this season than last season, because unfortunately he dropped well out of title contention and just didn't really have any luck whatsoever. I think he had a run of 5 consecutive retirements, something like that, but none of that really matters at the moment. And I believe that is Roke, who has obviously been lapped by Kuba, so they've lapped almost the entire field, I suppose, although Byrne and Kuba have been the only two drivers, I think, basically, that have avoided most of the chaos and calamities that have happened in this Grand Prix. But as Kuba comes around Raskas for the final time, he comes around the final corner, and Waze Kuba, as he comes down the front straight, is going to win the Monaco Grand Prix and take Ferrari's first victory of the season. Congratulations to him. And Roke is just going to beat Nicholas Gal to a podium in third place. Crucial, we came out ahead of him in the pit stops. Zachary Fitzwater set to come home in a 10th place, so that's a pretty decent result for him. At least he gets a top 10. Gamba set to come home in 11th place with his teammate Sam Thompson set to come home in a very impressive P5 for Toro Rosso. They really did need that, especially for Thompson, as he's got quite a few points so far this season. De Rosso set to come home in a somewhat good P6, and Roman Quark set to come home and take more points for Caterham. He comes across the line and takes P7. As Evan Byrne comes home in 2nd, Mackenzie comes home in 8th, and Joseph Williams comes home in 9th. And that is everyone finished. And that was quite a quick race, but I suppose there was more crashes than obviously overtakes. But that was the Monaco Grand Prix. So Waze Kuba wins from Evan Byrne in 2nd, George Roke in 3rd, Nicholas Gal 4th, Sam Thompson 5th, Kirosima De Rossa 6th, Roman Quark 7th, and Ian McKenzie 8th, Joseph Willis 9th, Zachary Fitzwater 10th, and Franco Gamba 11th. So 11 cars finished. Half the field didn't, with Alan Wolf, Felix Sontag, Florian Volker, Sean Grant, Ricky Farquharson, Roland Moitian, Vicar Holst, Oliver Glazebrook, Alex Southgate, Robbie Inescu, and Armar Carr not finishing this race. Half the field, certainly more than last season. Waze Cooper set the fastest ahead of Byrne, with Nicholas Gal 3rd, Roke in 4th, Ricky Farquharson 5th, Florian Volker 6th, Willow 7th, Mackenzie 8th, Thompson, Holst, Sontag, De Rossa, Quark, Fitzwater, Gamba, Wolf, Moitian, Grant, with Inescu, Carr, Glazebrook and Southgate not setting a lap, because obviously they were all retired on the first lap. So here are the point standings. So Volkers does still keep the lead from Miguel Ascal on his wins, as they're both on 37 points. Evan Byrne, however, is now closing on the top two with 33. Waze Cooper now fourth with that win, tied with Viggo Holst on 21 points for fourth. Mackenzie sixth with 20 points. George Rixon with 16. Southgate 8th with 12. Joseph was 9th. And Felix Sonntag 10th with both 8 points respectively. Gerossa is 11th with 7. Thompson 12th with 5. Moishin 13th with 2. Same with Gambo, 14th with 2. And Quag as well with 2 points. Ricky Harkesane in 16th with 1. And Oliver Glazer with 1, as well as Adam Wolf, with Robbie Ionescu, Amar Carr, Zachary Fitzhall and Sean Grant on 0 points. In the Constructors, Red Bull leading by 20 points from McLaren, who are in turn 18 points ahead of Lotus in third, who themselves are 7 points clear of Ferrari, who are disappointingly in fourth. Mercedes in 5th place with 20, Force India and Toro Rosso 6th and 7th with 7, Williams 8th with 3, Caterham also have 3, Sauber with 1, and Russia the only team so far yet to score any points. Well, that has been a crash festival Monaco Grand Prix. I mean, what did anyone really expect? I hope you guys enjoyed it. Forget to, as usual, vote for your driver of the day and give the race a rating out of 10. Thanks very much for watching, everyone, and we will see you for the next race, the Canadian Grand Prix at Montreal. Thanks for watching, and see you then.